welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast, as always, for the fans. By the fans, you've got me and Murray again this week. I apologise for my absence over the past couple of weeks. I haven't been busy. I've just been working, really. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Murray, how are you keeping?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a more positive week of rugby for me this week. I'm on the up. I'm on more than half of my team's winning. So there we go.
Happy days. Happy days. Obviously, a standard week. We've had Women's Six Nations, we've had Premiership, we've had URC, we've had Super Rugby, and some other games were played as well in the world. We'll start with the Women's Six Nations because at the tail end of the competition now, and we had some pretty interesting results. I know one you're going to want to talk about, some pretty interesting results. I'm going to start with the one that's getting, I feel like, the most press, negative and positive. England versus Ireland, 48-0 to England. Now, I just want to put out there, I've seen on the media and whatnot, people saying it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Credit to the Ireland girls for only conceding 48 points. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Well, so I was going to actually kind of make a joke of it. It's the first game in this Six Nations that the Red Roses haven't scored 50.
Yeah.
But I think that's more down to kicking and not actual.
Yeah. Listen, I don't think you can take any positives away from 48-0, regardless of the skill gap between the teams. At the end of the day, I feel like it's a bit disrespectful to the women's game and to the Ireland team because you're trying to bubble wrap them and say, well done, girls, good effort. No, girls, you lost. Improve on it. Come back next tournament better. I know it's harsh, but we would say that if Ireland lost to England like that in the men's game.
Right, okay, yeah, I get
You know what I mean? Ultimately,
it's interesting because, again, I think we've said this every round. I think people forget Ireland are the only ones that weren't in last year's World Cup.
No, 100%. 100%.
They're also the only one not professional. So, again, that does have a big waiver on things. That the girls...
maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being too harsh.
No, I get where you're coming from, but there is, like... I'm not defending Ireland. Like, it's not been a good
time. But then, it brings into question the competition itself, where you've got teams like England, France, Scotland now, Wales, Italy, professional contracts, and then Ireland. Ireland need professional contracts then to compete because it's not fair on those girls to.
I mean, when Jemma joined us last week, we spoke about it in depth, and it was so. I'm guessing you've heard about one of the higher ups at the IRFU, and the president's dinner basically said, "Who gives a fuck about women's rugby?"
Yes, I did. Yes,
and apparently, again, I don't know. I'm just reading from what I've seen from the great girls that do TikToks with Jemma, Anja. Stella Mills is really good at it as well. She's a reporter, so she's very interesting on that side of things. But apparently the girls asked for like hybrid contracts.
Right.
So not even full professional contracts, and they weren't given them either. So
see, I think, excuse my language, that's a load of shit. Give the girls contracts.
Yeah.
They're in which is now a professional competition. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
And they don't have professional contracts.
It's a farce. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And it needs to be sorted out because, one, it takes away from the competition itself. Two, it takes away from, the women who play for Ireland. It's not fair on them.
No, that's fair.
It's not fair.
Yes.
And, it's almost like trying to make an excuse for a 48-0 loss. But Ireland aren't professional. Make them professional then. Give the girls contracts. Give them the ability, give them the means to compete so that next year when we come to this tournament, we're not going to be almost celebrating a 48-0 win, 48-0 loss.
No,
that's my 2 cents in it. And I might be being a bit too harsh. I might be a bit cutthroat. But it just boils down to it. Give the girls professional contracts. They deserve the professional contracts, which will allow them to compete.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. And we've said it loads of times.
Because right now, and this is going to sound brutal, and I don't mean it to sound brutal, but like people keep saying, "Oh, Italy can't compete in the men's Six Nations." Well, quite clearly, Ireland women can't compete in this TikTok Six Nations. So.
Exactly. And we see the Italy women's team here, professional contracts. I think they've got a pretty good tournament, in my opinion.
The thing is, they've got some great players as well, which is the upsetting bit.
Exactly. But if the incentive and the money's not there for them, how can you expect them to be on the same level as the Red Roses?
Not even just that. This goes deeper for the future. If you're a young girl, again, I know that me and Cam are not, and we don't have this preference, but if you're a young girl wanting to play for Ireland and you're seeing the performances, you're not going to want to play for Ireland.
If you're say a girl 12, 14, 15, 16, you want to get into rugby, you think one day I want to compete for Ireland in the Women's Six Nations, but then you hear that they're not even bothered to give the girls professional contracts.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's a joke. And then you get scorelines like this, 48-0, and then they try make light of it by saying, but they're not professional. It's my point of view. Simple as that. Make the girls professional. Yeah. We'll move on because I don't want to dwell on too much negativity. A massive win. A massive win for your girls. 29-21 Scotland over Italy. I think if you looked at this as sort of an outside fan of rugby, you'd think obviously a Scotland team would beat an Italian team, but not so much in the women's game, and it just shows how much work your girls have done.
My girls, yeah. No, full credit. I mean, we were speaking about it with some of the girls after the game. It's their first win since they qualified for last year's World Cup.
Yep.
It's 12 games without a win, but it goes deeper than that. So obviously you had the 3 games in the World Cup. Chuck them out of the way now. It's been so long since the girls have won a Six Nations game. We were very close. I think it was maybe 2 years ago now, in the COVID one, where we drew with France.
Yeah.
But like we've always said, a draw is a bit null and void. Nobody likes a draw.
Exactly.
But this win tells you what professional, again, like what you said about the Ireland.
Exactly. It hammers home my point. It really hammers home the point.
But I mean, I don't even know where to start because there was so much going on. Helen Nelson getting her 50th, well deserved. Leah Bartlett, the loose head prop, getting 2 tries.
2 tries within 5 minutes.
Yeah. Louise McMillan, absolute one of the faces of Scotland women, getting her first ever try for her country. Friend of the show, Lana Skeldon. She will throw darts all day on the double. We'll love it. And a BP win at home.
Exactly. And it's a boost for the girls. Obviously, it's a bit late in the competition for any significant table spots, but I mean, just the confidence boost for the girls. A big win against a quality Italy team. It really bodes well for the rest of the year and going into next year's tournament, where we could be seeing results like this from Scotland far more often. So yeah,
I agree. So happy day, and just big shout out to all the girls that said hi after the game, and hugs as well. We love that. Big hug, friendly hugs. Friend of the show, Anna Skeldon, Chloe Rowley, who has electric feet. She is absolutely deadly with ball in hand. Helen Nelson, like I said, on her 50th. Lisa Thompson, who got her 50th last week, but they like to celebrate it at home, so she had the cap on. Beth Blackcock getting her first cap. It's all on up for Scottish rugby, and
100%, really positive things. We'll get on to the Sunday's game because this has set up the Grand Slam decider.
Yes.
We have France versus Wales, 39 points to France, 14 to Wales. An absolutely blistering start for France. Wales making a bit of a fight back in the second half. I have to give credit to Wales because I think they've performed admirably this tournament. France are a quality team, and they were, just one hill too high for the Welsh girls. Yeah. But I mean, it does set up for a juicy fixture next week, and yeah, all credits to the French girls. If anyone's going to topple the Red Roses in this tournament, it's going to be them, and it's fitting that we're going to see it in the last week.
Well, so we'll just get straight into it and get the predictions on the go then for Super Saturday.
Yes, let's go.
So it is a decider first. I don't actually like that. I always think that
it'd be nice to have a decider last, but we got to decide it first.
So we're at Twickenham, where over 50,000 people will be in attendance. Just to let that sink in, because for those
amazing. Is it record attendance? I believe
that is the biggest attendance for women's.
Biggest attendance record has been set.
It's about 12,000 more than World Cup final last year.
Yeah,
it's insane.
And I mean, the fixture deserves it.
Oh, absolutely. So, Red Roses versus France. It is Le Crunch.
Le Crunch.
Who are you backing?
Ultimately, I want it to be a close game, and I think it will be. But I'm going to back the Roses because they have just been too quality this season. Absolutely. I'm gonna say Roses by 10 points.
You know what? I'm going to give the Roses a bit more credit because Harv has got this stuck in my head, and I completely agree with him. He thinks that the Red Roses side under Simon Middleton will go down as the greatest women's side ever.
One of the greatest sides ever.
I completely agree. Definitely best in the women's. One of the best 100%. In rugby as a whole.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go Red Roses, England, get the Grand Slam again by 17 points.
I like it.
And then we go on to Italy. Not in Rome, might I add.
No. So it's promising for them.
Italy host Wales.
This is going to be a tricky one because both teams, I feel like they've had similar tournaments where they both performed well. Listen, it's going to be, for me, it's a 50-50 fixture. I can see both teams walking away with the win here. I want to back the Welsh girls.
Okay.
I'm going to back the Welsh girls. I'm going to say Wales by 4 points.
Ooh, I like it.
That's a tight one.
The tight battle.
I think these two teams are very even.
I agree with you. I genuinely cannot decide. So I have to go pod bias for this just to get my prediction out. So we've had 2 Welsh girls. We've got 1 Italian. I'm back in Wales. I'm going to go Wales by 3. I like your idea of a nice close encounter. So I'll say Wales by 3. And then lastly, I'm there again. Back at the Dam. Scotland take on Ireland in a good old Celtic clash. I'm ready.
I really want this to be a good tight fixture. I think Ireland are, obviously you said they've got the talent there.
So
I really want them to come out and prove people wrong. I do think Scotland are going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an emphatic win. I'm going to say Scotland by 7.
Ooh, yeah, okay, that's cool. You know what? I said at the start of the tournament that regardless of results, these girls are making history. They're the first professional team for Scotland women, so that's history in itself. But being at home, knowing that they have a home now at the Dam Hill, because last year they kind of chopped and changed and it was not like it. But they've now got a home. They've got the crowd growing. I think we can do a lot of damage at home. So I'm going to say Scotland, obviously, back your team. I'm going to say Scotland, and I'm going to say by 12.
Oh, 100%.
There we go.
100%.
So, happy days. But there has been other rugby on. So, Cam, you're hosting this week, so I'll let you decide where you're going to take us to.
Well, let's start with the Premiership. Let's start with the Premiership.
Okay.
Go to Friday night. An absolute hammering. Northampton, I've got their jersey in the back. Northampton versus Newcastle, 66-5.
Yeah.
We'll go on to the Saturday. Exeter versus Bristol, the tightest of tightest games, 22-21 for the Chiefs.
Yes.
I'm glad Harv's not here because I think he'd cry if he heard this. Harlequins versus Bath, 45-35 to Bath. Would you believe it? Gloucester versus Sale, another tight fixture, 25-22 to the Sale Sharks. And then today we had Saracens versus London Irish, 45-21 to the top of the table team, Saracens.
Yes.
Murray, I know you want to talk about it. We'll talk about that Chiefs game because what a tight fixture it was.
So good.
Go for it.
It just tells you that being a man down does not make a difference. Like, we dug down deep for that. And, I mean, pretty much this was a goodbye game for a lot of the boys. So, and Joe Simmons essentially just doing what he did in that double title winning season, just coming up clutch, 2 minutes left.
Stepped up to the plate. And I mean, like you said, you lost a man early, Jenkins, 17 minutes. You played essentially 60 odd minutes of that game without a full strength team. But yeah.
Even just the try scorers, Ian Whitten, who's retiring, absolute workhorse, legend of Exeter Chiefs. Dave Ewers was leaving for Ulster, also on the score sheet. And it does. I've said it. I'm more leaning towards the Champions Cup with it, but it really does feel like a last dance. It does feel like a last hurrah. We're not in the playoffs for Premiership, unfortunately. We're not in the top four, but
you got Champions Cup to go for.
You've now got all that whole focus on the Champions Cup, and I'm all ready for it. So yeah, I am a very happy boy. Well done, Chiefs. Love it.
Yeah, there's one more game I want to talk about the Premiership very quickly. It is Bath versus Harlequins. Not really so much about this game. I also want to talk about Bath's sort of resurgence in the tail end of the season. They've seemed to have found some form. And they've started winning games, and you got to ask yourself, where was this team at the start of the season? Why all of a sudden now have they burst into life and they're performing and beating teams who you wouldn't expect them to beat, especially this season?
No, I agree. I'm sorry. I just the little one's still up and not happy about something.
Bless him.
It's been a long day, but yeah, I mean, it almost feels more frustrating that Bath has left it this late to perform.
I feel exactly the same way, because if we were to see this Bath at the start of the season and consistently throughout the season, we'd be looking at a very different table.
Oh, 100%. But to do it, not even at the Stoop, to do it at Twickenham Stadium and the big summer kickoff as they built it as?
Something like that, yeah.
On the same game where Marcus Smith got his 1000th Premiership point.
Mad.
Still took away.
And he's still basically a baby. He's young and he's got 1,000 points.
We've said it already throughout this season. Ollie Lawrence. What a boy.
Honestly,
player.
A star signing for Bath. They're the best money they've spent.
Easy. And now next year, me and Harv and
now they're getting Finn Russell, Thomas Toy.
Yeah, you've got Thomas DeToy holding the scrum solidly, because Bath have got a solid scrum when all their players are fully fit. You've got World Cup winner Thomas DeToy holding the scrum. You've got Finn Russell, Cam Redpath, Ollie Lawrence, Joe Thockin, singer.
Imagine Finn Russell just popping one of these sneaky little pop passes to Ollie Lawrence, and it's going to be quality. I'm excited about Bath next season. I really am. I might even start supporting Bath next season.
I was actually going to ask, do you have a Premiership team?
I'm very much so. This season, I've liked the Tigers, plainly because of Springbok relations, Jasper Wiese and Andre Pollard. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really have a Premiership team, and I quite like it that way because I can watch it as a neutral and root for whichever team I like on the week, pretty much.
Well, I mean, the top four have been confirmed. You can't change it now. They are uncatchable. So, Saracens, Sale Sharks, Leicester Tigers, and Northampton Saints are your top 4. So I believe it's first versus fourth, second versus third.
Yeah.
Saracens will host Northampton Saints in the semi-finals. Obviously, we've still got another round to go. But anyway, Saracens will host Saints, Sale Sharks versus Tigers. Who's the final? And just quickly round off, who do you think is going to be in the final?
I can see it being exactly the same final.
Yeah.
I can see it being a Tigers versus Saracens again. But I say that, but you can't discount Northampton. I feel like them and Leicester have sort of had that sort of resurgence into the season, and they've claimed those top 2 spots. Sale and Saracens, they've been pretty consistent throughout the whole season. If I'm thinking with my head, it's going to be a Sale versus Saracens final, but it's Premiership rugby. Anyone can beat anyone, and we've seen that consistently throughout the season. So I'm going to say a Leicester versus Saracens final again.
I'm going to be dead weird about it, just because it would look really funny to have third versus fourth in the final. Tigers versus Saints, it's a classic, it's old school. Anyone but Saracens. No, it's probably going to be Saracens versus probably Sale, I feel. Yeah. Anyway.
Shall we move on to the URC?
Yes.
The final round of the regular season, and it went a little something like this. On the Friday evening, we had Stormers versus Benetton, a closer game than expected, 38-22 to the Stormers. Then we move over to Ireland, Ulster versus Edinburgh, 28-14. Ulster getting the win and securing that second spot on the table. Moving on to Saturday, Lions versus Zebre, 50 points to the Lions, 35 to Zebre. Zebre officially go winless for the whole season, hence why I'm wearing their jersey. I'm not going to get any other chance to do it. This next game, Bulls versus Leinster. Goodbye to your perfect season. The Bulls 62, Leinster 7. Dragons versus Scarlets, 31-14 in that Welsh derby. Ospreys versus Cardiff, 38-21. Sharks versus Munster, a boring draw, 22-22. We'll talk about that in a minute. I have a few words for that. Glasgow versus Connacht, a very close fixture, 29-27. I am going to ask you to talk about Edinburgh. Not so obviously talk about the game, but also I want you to sort of give a brief of the season, like your brief look back on the season. Give them a ranking 1 through 10.
10 being
how you think the season's gone.
10 being the best.
10 being the best, 1 being Zebre.
6.
A 6.
If one's Zebra, yeah, 6, yeah.
Okay. I think I've got a TikTok coming out soon where I'm ranking all the URC teams going up the table. I've been very harsh. I've rated Edinburgh. I think I've rated them a 3.5 or a 4.
I do get it.
Throughout, mainly because
URC season 3.
The URC season, yeah.
Well,
okay.
I'll do overall season 6 because we beat Saracens.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
That gets bonus points for anyone's good books for me.
But
the whole Edinburgh season's been a mess, and I've always been trying to look at the positives and but we had injuries. Like, I'm not disheartening them. It takes a lot of guts to come out and say that you're not coping being a head coach. So still, hats off to Mike Blair. He's still an Edinburgh legend. But I think coming out publicly is kind of just
derailed the team.
Yeah, so and then Steve Diamond coming in with like 3 rounds to left.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't very likely we were getting the playoffs. It felt very weird. But Mike Blair was still in charge. And like Steve Diamond was like head consultant. I don't even know what that entails. Consulting what exactly? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If he's going to be the head coach,
make him the head coach.
Make him head coach. Great, I'm all for it. Players are leaving. most of the players leaving, it's not a big deal. We've signed some decent players as well, which is good to see. And it will benefit the national team. But yeah, just a very mixed. I think, like, I'm in a lot of chats about rugby, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm in one group chat, and somebody in it was like, Edinburgh, like, look at on the Edinburgh's strongest team on paper. That's a title contending team. It's full of internationals. So it's like somebody, they were like, the same person was like, Edinburgh's probably the most underachieved team this season. And
That's exactly what I said.
Glasgow are arguably the most overachieved team. And I don't agree with that part, but I got what they.
I understand where it's coming from, because at the start of the season, if you looked at the two Scottish teams, the two Scottish representatives in this competition,
yeah,
you would have said Edinburgh are probably going to be that playoff contender. If anyone's going to win the URC from Scotland, it's going to probably be Edinburgh. Now, obviously, looking back on the season, Glasgow have been brilliant. Edinburgh, not so much. The season started decently. A tour in South Africa at the start of the season. And then obviously, like you said, injuries and international players away on international duties.
The injury list was ridiculous. I'm not using that as any excuse, but I mean, come on. Like, Dave Cherry was hurt. Pierre Schumann, I think, had a knock. There was rumours Hamish Watson might have had to retire.
Yeah.
Bill Mata kept getting injured. Ben Muncaster wasn't quite ready to fill in for Bill Mata. Ben Vellacott was out for a while. Blair Kinghorn's been had to make it 10, and I've said this to Cam on the lives that I would hate to be Blair Kinghorn just because realistically there's no
not going to get a starting position for club or country.
So you have to try and shovel him in at 10, and that's not fair on him or Ben Healy or Charles Savall, who are out and out 10s. But anyway, I could rant about that all day. Duhan got injured and then got married and then came back and he was brilliant. Darcy Graham, his knee went to mush at the start of December and he didn't come back till after the Six Nations. Buffelli was injured. We had to use our academy player in both Glasgow legs as a late replacement because of injury. James Lang's been injured. We've had to use our sixth choice winger at times. And I don't mean sixth choice as in degrading, but like,
it's true. It's true. It's
never got much game time. They had to play quite important games, and like it almost got to the point like you would read a team out, and I always back the boys. I love the boys. I love Edinburgh.
You wouldn't so much recognise it as Edinburgh.
There was genuinely some team squad announcements. I'm like, who's that?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not using that as an excuse. Like, obviously, it does come down to some decision making and on that on the field. But yeah, just not great. And hopefully fix it. I mean, it can't get much worse, to be fair.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'll talk about the Sharks then quickly, and I'll give them a rating for the season. Let's just talk 22-22 against Munster. It was a must-win game. We didn't win it, which means I believe now with all the other factors involved, we don't qualify for the Champions Cup next year.
No, you're in the Challenge Cup with us.
We're in the Challenge Cup, which ultimately I think might be a good thing for the team because it might be a wake-up call, and it is what it is. We're in the playoffs for the URC, but I think this game really rung true about the whole season. We needed to perform, and we didn't. We had a 22. We had something like what were we? 22-5 lead, I think we had.
Ouch! Yeah.
And it ended 22-22. The whole season, listen, we made the quarterfinals. We made the playoffs in the URC. Just by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah. So shall we quickly just run through the final 8, the playoffs then we could mention Bulls Leinster, but there's no point because I even went in the comments on Leinster social media. Nobody cared. They were genuinely like, that's all right. It teaches the young lads a lesson. Big game next week. I'm like, the mentality.
It's a massive confidence booster for the Bulls going into the playoffs. And that Leinster team will learn a hell of a lot from that game.
The confidence to be like, oh no, we got 60 put on us. It's fine. Who cares?
It's Leinster. And listen, it was an academy team. It wasn't even their second team. It was an academy team.
But 60, and the fans are like, it's fine, don't matter.
Yeah.
I'd love to wake up getting beat 60 points on me going,
yeah, no, it's fine. But yeah, but they got Champions Cup to worry about, and yeah. But we'll go to the table. Yes. Should we go? We'll go 8th to 1st. In 8th, we've got the Sharks just. Connacht are in 7th. The Bulls are in 6th. Munster in 5th. Glasgow in 4th. And the top 3 sits like this. Stormers are in 3rd. Ulster getting 2nd for that crucial home quarter final. And Leinster, I believe, having the home quarter final and the home semi-final, finishing top of the log.
So the final, the actual knockout games have been announced. We have Glasgow Warriors versus Munster, Stormers versus Bulls, nice big South African rivalry there. Ulster versus Connacht, all Irish affair, and well done, Cam. You get to go to the Aviva against Leinster. Well done, you.
How are they going to make 8th play? Listen, ultimately, the Bulls went out and beat Leinster in their home ground in the playoff game before. Can the Sharks do it? We can do it. We can. If we play our best team, we can.
You won't. Sorry.
I'm going to back my boys. You know I'm going to back my boys.
Yeah, of course you have to.
But if we're going off this season in the big need-to-win games, it's Leinster at home.
Quick question for you. And for anyone listening, it's up to you. You can interact with this as well if you want. Do I swindle my way into getting to Scotland for the playoffs for Glasgow? Do I speak to an old friend that plays in Glasgow now?
Yeah, why not? Glasgow are playing Munster, yes?
Yeah.
Why not?
Just for those listening, I managed to get a Glasgow player to gift me a ticket to see Glasgow whilst they played Edinburgh. I got to sit in the family and friends bit. Like George Horn's mum sitting in front of me, Xander Ferguson was still injured, sitting 3 away from me, and I've got all my Edinburgh stuff on. And Glasgow's like...
You're an absolute fraud. You're a terrible... You are a fraud, Murray.
I love it.
You're a fraud.
It was so good, but yeah, I'll try that again. I'll ask very nicely. Like, please. You know what? I would even wear a Glasgow top for it. There you go. I have Glasgow tops because me and Cam collect jerseys.
We do, as you can see, jerseys, Murray, beautifully done. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the URC. Oh yeah, my rating for the Sharks for the season, 5, bang average. We made it to the playoffs, 5. We get bang average.
That's fair. That's not.
We've got Super Rugby to talk about very quickly. One of the games quickly. The Chiefs go still unbeaten, 50 points to 17 over Drua. Rebels versus Crusaders, 43-27 for the Crusaders. Now, it didn't look like this for a lot of the game. I thought the Rebels might pull off a famous victory, but ultimately they scuffed it. Blues versus Tars, another game where they scuffed it, 55-21. The Blues making... not so much a comeback, but it was closer at halftime, I promise. Highlanders, an Australian team beating a New Zealand team.
First time in 10 years the Force have beat the Highlanders. There you go.
Exactly. Massive result for them. I watched this game very loosely. I was watching it whilst I was cooking breakfast and drinking my coffee. But yeah, 30 points to 17 for the Force. Yeah, that's it. There's no games on Sunday. Beautiful.
But like 4 teams had like a bye this week as well, which is strange. But
yeah, we didn't see the Hurricanes and whatnot. We didn't see Brumbies. We didn't see Reds. Didn't see Moana. To be honest, there's not really any games I want to talk about other than more so the Chiefs in general this season. They're still unbeaten.
So I seen a thing. Now it's mental that it's actually been this long since there's been a team that's went undefeated right through the regular. Can the Chiefs do what the Crusaders did in 2002? That was the last time a team went unbeaten.
In Super Rugby. I mean, it depends. I mean, how far are we into the season?
We have we're on round 9 there this week.
Yeah.
Of 5 more regular rounds, and then
round 14 is the last round. So 5 more rounds, 5 more games.
Round 15, 6 more rounds. Sorry, if you include next week.
Yeah, you're right.
Quarterfinal, final. So yeah.
Listen, the Chiefs still have to play.
I feel like they're going to slip up somewhere, and that's not being.
They have to play the Crusaders again.
God, well done.
To be
fair, it's at home now. They did beat them away.
It's a big ask for a team. Even Leinster couldn't go undefeated in the season. They came damn close to it, but
just rubbing salt on those wins, Cam.
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, I was so nothing against Leinster. Your team's amazing. You're the best club team in the world, but I was so happy to see you get hammered. I know it was an academy team, but it doesn't take away from my happiness. I still respect you. You're a brilliant team. Anyway, but yeah, it's a big ask for any team. Are they up for it?
Yeah, they're definitely up for it.
They're definitely up for it.
I don't know, but I mean, round 10, all the teams are back. So shall we predict that, please?
Yeah.
So we've got Hurricanes versus the Brumbies.
Hurricanes versus Brumbies on the Friday. I'm gonna back the Brumbies.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Brumbies by 4 points.
I'll go Canes by 6. There we go.
Fair enough. It's in New Zealand. It's a tough ask for any team to go play in New Zealand. Next, we have Tars versus Highlanders.
Oh my God.
In Australia, yeah.
I'm gonna go Waratahs by 6. I don't know. It's a weird. Waratahs aren't doing great near the Highland. It's a very strange game.
I'm gonna say Landers by 10.
Fair. Drua versus the Blues. Please tell me it's in Fiji. I'm double checking.
Lautoka, Churchill Park. Is that in Fiji? I don't know.
I'm googling it because
Google it. If it's in Fiji, they could cause another upset.
Churchill Park Rugby. It is in Fiji.
Drua by 2 points.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Honestly, I think Drua have become my Super Rugby team this season. I love watching them so much. They're so good. Pacifica versus Rebels in Auckland. So Pacifica not playing in Samoa or Tonga, I believe they also play if they play home fixtures.
They did play in Samoa the last
one. Samoa, didn't they?
But they got beat.
Rebels have been quality this season.
Rebels have been really trying to push for something special this season.
They have, I'm sorry, Pacifica. But Pacifica haven't been slouches. They haven't been getting the wins, but they've been slouches.
They do need a win.
It's going to be Rebels, Murray. It's going to be Rebels by 12.
You know what? Just because if you don't know, we do the winner's circle with the jerseys behind us. I really want to show off the Moana Pacifica jersey.
I want to show off my Fiji Drua jersey, but beat the Blues and then I can.
Well, there we go. So I'm going to go Pacifica by 1. Literally by the 1. Last kick of the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The big clash, Chiefs versus Crusaders.
I kind of want to see them go undefeated now. I'm going to go Chiefs.
Yeah, I'll back the Chiefs. Listen, if I'm enjoying watching the Chiefs do well at the moment. Yeah, Chiefs by 3 points, like penalty by
Chiefs by 5.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be a close game. I don't think Crusaders are going to let the Chiefs do what they did to them last time. Personally, I can't see it happening again. But yeah, Chiefs by 3. Reds versus Force. I'm backing the who's been better this season?
Force.
Yeah, they have, haven't they?
I'm going Force by 8. Yeah, by 8.
It's in Queensland. Reds by a point.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. No, I get that. That's fair. That's understandable.
Anyway,
That's Super Rugby.
That's Super Rugby, but we have more predictions to do because we have some absolute spice coming up. Saturday, Champions Cup Rugby, Leinster versus Toulouse.
Oh my God.
This is I'm going to say this is the biggest fixture in club rugby.
It should be the final, realistically. In all honesty.
But you've still got La Rochelle in the
we just got to completely brush past my Chiefs.
No, I know the Chiefs are there as well, but I'm saying,
wow.
I mean, listen, we'll wait till we get to the La Rochelle Chiefs prediction, but you just wait.
You know what? Leinster need to win. I know that sounds stupid.
If they don't win another competition this year, like do you know what I mean? Like if they don't win the URC and then they don't win the Champions Cup, but they've been completely dominant. It's just funny. They're frauds. If they don't win, they're frauds.
I mean, I'm going to say Leinster because at the Aviva, and when they're at the Aviva, everything just clicks.
Yeah, Leinster at the Aviva are a different force.
So I'm gonna say Leinster.
Toulouse to break hearts. The rampant Ramos, the delightful Dupont. What's one that works with Intermac? The naughty Intermac.
That works.
Just to be a bastard, I'm going to say Toulouse to beat Leinster, and then the Sharks to beat Leinster and Leinster to get knocked out of all the competitions. Toulouse by 7.
Leinster by 16.
Oh, Murray, no.
I'm sorry.
You are making a mockery of this fixture.
I'm not.
But you're probably not wrong. Anyway.
What did I done last year? We've been here before.
La Rochelle versus Exeter Chiefs on the Sunday.
Chiefs.
You know what, Murray? I'd like to see the Chiefs win.
So that
you've got me on side with the whole Last Dance thing. I don't know how you've swayed me. I'd like to see the Chiefs win. So I'm going to say Chiefs by 4 points.
I'm going to do the old school. I'm going to say Chiefs by 1. Again, I don't care. It could be Chiefs by 1, Chiefs by 5, Chiefs by 30. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Back your team, get the win, get in the final.
Exactly. End of the day, knockout rugby, no bonus points, nothing else on the line other than winning.
Yeah. I
reckon it's a draw, and then they go to extra time, then they go to penalty shootout.
Can't have another draw. We've already got through on the draw. I still don't agree with that, but yeah, I don't care. We're through now.
What we got? Challenge Cup.
Mm-hmm.
We will start on the Saturday. We have in Parker Scarlets.
Mm-hmm.
Scarlets versus Glasgow. Now,
I've always said I'm going to back Glasgow because it's a European.
I'm going to back Scarlets. I'm going to back Scarlets. I like the Scarlets, and it would be amazing for a Welsh team to win a European competition in the state of the WRU at the moment. Have you seen how many players are leaving? You talk about a last dance for the Chiefs. Have you seen how many players are leaving the Scarlets at the end of the season? It feels like they've just found their footing. The team has just started to click, and they're losing everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a lot of players retiring, but we'll get into that after the predictions because there's some news coming out this week. But like I said, if Glasgow win, it's a massive benefit for Scottish rugby. So I'm going to say Glasgow by 6.
By 15.
Nice. No.
Parker Scarlets, man. they've done some magical things at Parker Scarlets.
Okay.
This one, Toulon versus Benetton.
I would, as much as it would be good to see Benetton get in the final, Toulon by 30. Toulon want revenge after getting embarrassed by Leon last year. They're having none of it. They're out for blood, and it's poor Benetton that stops them. That's trying to get in their way. No. Toulon by 30.
Benetton by 12.
By 12?
Yeah, I'm back in Benetton, Murray.
Oh.
This is. I
You know
have
what?
to.
You know what?
Do you know what? I don't say this with Benetton because I haven't felt confident enough to say this, but back your team. I'm backing Benetton. I've got a Zebre jersey on, but it doesn't matter.
No sense, but yeah, okay. Anyway, some news this week, and it's all retirements. Everyone's retiring. Stuart McInally is leaving to pursue his lifelong dream of being a pilot, which is, yeah, cool. I love that. Legend of the game, well, for Edinburgh. Absolute legend, former Scotland captain. We'll love it. And apparently I look like, I said it on the TikTok live during the week, but it comes up every year that I look like Stuart McInally. I don't think... version? Like now, like I look like Stuart McInally now, just like...
Yeah, the Tesco version of Stuart McInally.
Yeah, like the Wish version. You order Stuart McInally of Wish. Version. You get me.
Josh Navidi also retiring. Now, this one's actually quite unfortunate because if you don't know, Josh Navidi's been out of the game for a while due to a neck injury. And unfortunately...
it was against the box. You just did this.
Sorry. No, listen, unfortunately, it's come out. The doctors have said, listen, it's quite a serious injury. You have to retire, basically, to put it simply. It's disappointing because I personally, I have a lot of time for Josh Navidi. I think he is an amazing player, or, you know, was an amazing player for Wales, a very talented loose forward. You know, I'd probably have put him, go back like 2019, I would have put in my team, my current 50 or World 15.
I've always had time for Josh Navidi. And
yeah, it's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate when a player has to retire due to injury.
I actually, not that I would know, but I do believe it makes it easier. It's out of your control.
I can see that because you have no other choice.
Right. It's out of your, if somebody's taking that pressure off you, I feel like it could be easier. Do you know who else is retiring? And again, sticking with Welsh rugby, Lee Halfpenny.
Yep, Lee Halfpenny's retiring from the Scarlets. This is his last season. It feels like, and also I just want to say, in the Ospreys Cardiff game, the commentator, and I don't think it's been confirmed anywhere. I haven't seen anything. I think you would have seen something. The commentators, I believe, said something along the lines of, "This is the last time you'll see Alan Wynne-Jones in an Ospreys jersey."
I could have told you that.
So
I think World Cup, he's going to bow out.
World Cup, I think it would be a good bow out for him. Listen, unless some other club has signed him, which I think would be a ridiculous investment because he's almost 40. Listen, yeah, probably best time for retirement. He's still had a bit of fight left in the season. I thought he's performed pretty well for the Ospreys this season. I don't think he's just been a loose end. But yeah, definitely coming to the time. You know, you up Johnny Sexton retiring, Alan Wynne-Jones retiring. You know, a lot of the older players are, putting up their boots for forever, pretty much.
All British and Irish Lions greats are retiring this year. Just let that sink in.
Yeah, it is. I feel like we're slowly being ushered into a new age of rugby, where you've got this.
We're getting old.
We are getting old, Murray.
We're getting old when all our heroes are retiring, becoming pundits and coaches and plumbers. I don't know.
Yeah, we're older than the majority of players now.
Oh. Anyway, just to round off the show, random game of the week.
Yes, random game of the week. I have a positive one from my perspective anyway. Obviously, the Sharks have been up and down in the URC, but in the Currie Cup, we've been performing pretty well. I'm quite happy with our Currie Cup performances. We've now beaten the top two teams on the table. We beat the Cheetahs 24-17. It solidifies our spots as third on the table, tailed by the Griquas in fourth. But we've now beaten the Pumas, who are top of the table, and we've beaten the Cheetahs, who are second on the table, which is very encouraging for the Currie Cup team. And hopefully this form continues and hopefully we win it. But there's still a lot of the competition to play.
Love that. Now, this was the same team that I did for Random Game of the Week last week, but I want to know what's going on. So it's from Super Rugby W, so the female part to Super Rugby. But again, there's no New Zealand teams in it. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. There's two Super Rugby women's competitions running like side by side. Anyway, sort that, put them together, we love it. Defending champions, Fijiana Drua, have lost again. Second week on the bounce. This time, 45-22 to the Reds. What's going on? Come on, Fiji.
Yeah, listen, it's not a competition that I followed closely before, but
there's one for
the Fijian Drua women's team. Even not following the competition, even I saw the scores that they were putting on teams last season.
Mental, yeah.
We
think they just found out this. I don't know, but anyway, why? Here's one for the fans and people to discuss and comment and whatever you want. Can we, instead of having Super Rugby LPK where you've got 4 New Zealand teams and Super Rugby W where you've got Australian and the Fijiana, can we not just make Super Rugby W?
It makes sense.
All of them.
It would just add more. Again, it just adds more to the women's game.
Exactly. Sort it out. Come on.
Sort it out. Make everyone happy.
Speaking of women's rugby, just before we sign off, can we get a Black Ferns fixture coming soon? I know the Pac 4 starts in July. The Pacific 4 starts with Canada, USA, Wallaroos, and Black Ferns. But are we getting a warm up? The Black Fern defending world champions haven't played since November.
Who would they play? Who would you like to see them play?
Fijiana. Nice little warm up.
A warm up game. Maybe
because they always got Six Nations.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's basically all the rugby this week. And we have got another interview this week because we do interviews on the weekly. Cam, you like this one? Current Sharks player.
Yes.
As well, because he was a Collins player as well. It's Ben Tapawai.
Love him. He's a bit of a globe trotter, isn't he? But he's settled down at the Sharks for how long has he been at the Sharks now? Christ, three seasons?
2 seasons? Yeah, because he won the Quins Prem. So, 2 seasons.
And then he left out. 3 seasons odd. He's our resident Aussie at the Sharks. Quality player. Happy days.
Yeah, fantastic bloke. Great chat. We just vibe. Me and guests just vibe hard on all of them.
Exactly.
So, love that.
And then you scam your way into stadiums as being an opposite fan, and it's all. Listen, guys, if you're watching here, it's all a big scam. Murray is a con man.
I'm just good at what I do. But yeah, this has been Rugby Connection podcast. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. Hit us a follow on both. We're on Instagram, TikTok. I believe we're still on Twitter. I'm not entirely sure. LinkedIn. Think of all, at the bottom of any company when you see all this like social media icons, Rugby Connection. We're on all of that. So go and check us out. You can watch us on YouTube. You could watch / just listen on Spotify. It's that weird blend now, but it's up to you what you want to do on that. We're all on Instagram ourselves. We're all on TikTok. So give us a follow on our personal accounts because we all do great stuff.
Exactly.
And it's great fun. We'll be back next week with more Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, Six Nations, and of course another interview.
Exactly.
That's the first time ever for the show next week. So there you go. But happy days, Cam. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Cheers, guys.
And we will see you next time.